Where I live, we had a snowstorm yesterday. But today, we actually saw the sun. First time in I can't remember how long. When you see the sun, that means grass will be growing soon and lawn mowing season will be upon us. And since I have nothing better to do, I thought I should give my electric mower a good cleaning. I've never really cleaned it, as you can probably tell. And this blade, well, you can't really call this a blade at this point. It's not even sharp enough to be called a butter knife. No grass cutting here. It's all just high-speed smushing. Yep, lots of grassy gunk, and most of the steel bits are rusted. But before we take care of that, do you ever wonder what your leaves see when you mulch them? That looked good. You know what would look better? A water balloon. That'd probably help with the caked-on grass, too. Now, this is a plugged-in electric mower, and I may have got carried away here. I'm not dumb, just maybe a bit slow. Water and electricity don't mix, so don't try this at home. But, spoilers, everything was fine, and yes, it did look cool and was totally worth it. That made a mess. Alright, let's get to it. First, off comes the dull blade. There's a hedge in my lawnmower. I don't have a huge lawn. The grass in my back garden can be cut in about 6 minutes, the front in about 20. I spend more time thinking about how my garden beds will look than my grass. I do love a tightly mowed lawn. A well-tended green patch nicely ties together all the planting that borders it. But I don't spend a lot of money on it. I usually don't fertilize it, and I never water it. And depending on the kind of summer we have, that can leave things looking like a scrubland. Instead, I hope for regular rainfall. But over the last few years, that's proved to be unreliable. So be it. I refuse to dump gallons of water and herbicides on it. If my neighbors don't like my lawn, well, I suppose that's none of my business. Having an expanse of grassy monoculture next to a house isn't a new idea. In medieval Europe, large estates and castles were often surrounded by grassy areas, which were primarily for practical purposes, such as grazing livestock and the like. But later, during the 16th century, formal gardens began to emerge and lawns started to become more of a symbol of wealth and status. If you had a large area of well-tended grass, you also employed a number of people to cut that grass, probably with scythes. That meant you had the cash to do it, and money meant you were better than everyone who didn't have it. In the 20th century, lawns became ubiquitous in North America, with the introduction of mass-produced, ready-to-install sod and fertilizers that made it easier to maintain lush, green lawns year-round. In Canada, where I live, lawn and garden care is projected to generate a revenue of almost $6 billion this year. That's billion with a B. How much of that is strictly lawn care, I'm not sure, but good lord, that's a lot of money. So, still a status symbol. I couldn't figure out how to get the front axle out, and I wanted to keep the number of parts I had left over after putting things back together at a bare minimum. So I'm just going to leave it and give it a quick scrub. Now to get these seized rusty screws loosened up. WD-40 to the rescue. That's all the metal bits off I feel I have any hope of properly being able to put back, so it's time to give them a bath. Salt and vinegar. Excellent for chips, great for removing rust. These will stay in here overnight. The next morning, the rust is coming off in gooey clumps. Very satisfying. Okay, time to put things back together. I hope they go back together. I really don't want to have to buy a new mower. You might be wondering why there's some rust on the back axle after I did such a good job cleaning it. Well, there was a good amount of time between when I cleaned it and when I'm reassembling it here. And as Neil Young told us, rust never sleeps. Some will say using a bench grinder is overkill for sharpening a lawnmower blade. I should use a whetstone instead. A bench grinder will take off too much metal, and the blade may become unbalanced. All valid points. However, I'm using this blade to cut grass, not to do heart surgery. Also, a bench grinder will produce sparks that will look nice in a video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, and please like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm.